Hi SQL folks. I came across a question in one of the SQL Server forums where the user was asking something about the request status of a lock, and the user saw something like a convert status. So the question was, what exactly is this convert status? If you look at the screen here, when I try to look at the output of sysdmtran locks, and this is a very straightforward select statement and we are retrieving a few attributes from this DMV. Let's go and execute this. You will see the sysdmtran locks will show you all the locks that are currently taken inside the database engine. Right now it's a very quiescent system, no workloads running, so you are seeing minimal output here. If you look at these attributes, amongst all of these, there's one attribute, one column here which says request underscore status. This tells you the status of the lock of your request, like whether this request has been granted, so which is grant, or is it waiting, so you will see wait. But the user saw something like convert, not for a very long period of time, but he saw this convert state and he was trying to and the question was, what exactly is this convert status and when does it happen? So I prepared a very quick demonstration to show you when does SQL Server put that convert status for your lock request. And yeah, it as the name says, convert, which means probably SQL Server engine is trying to convert the request mode from one mode type to another. So if you look at this attribute which says request mode, right now all of them are S here, which stands for shared. So when SQL Server is trying to convert the request mode from one mode to another, it will put up the status as convert. So let's get into the demo and see when it happens, and then of course things will be much more clearer. I'll move on to this window. Let's treat this window, this user, as connection 1. We are going to use AdventureWorks. I'll change the transaction isolation level to repeatable read so that I can just demonstrate the behavior. We're going to begin a transaction. This will be an in-flight transaction, and I'm going to read data from person.contact. Let's do this. Now there is a reason why I have chosen the isolation level as repeatable read. Simply because you know that in this isolation level, my select statement would require a shared lock, and the shared lock is going to be held until the duration of the transaction. That's why I put the select statement inside a transaction. Otherwise, in our default isolation level, which is read committed, the duration of the shared lock will be, that shared lock is going to be held for the duration of the read operation, which means go to the data, acquire the lock, read the data, release the lock. That will be the behavior in read committed. But in repeatable read, the behavior is going to be something like this, which is locate the data, acquire the lock, read the data, and do not release the lock until the end of the transaction. So either it will encounter a commit tran or a rollback tran. So just to prove that, let's move to another window and look at the locks that are currently taken. So let's just go and execute this, and you will see our session ID 82 here. Let's just straight away jump to where is my session ID, request database ID? Interesting. Select funny script. REQ request session ID. Let's do this. So you will see 82, which is that user 1. Is holding a key lock. Amongst other things, we are focusing on the key lock here because we're just locking that one record, and you will see the lock mode as shared. Take a quick note of this, 82 shared, and this lock is currently being held. The status is granted because of course no one else was locking it. We just want to read the data, shared lock is acquired. The point that I'm trying to make here is shared lock. It shows up as shared lock and it's still being held because we are in repeatable read isolation level. If this was read committed, you wouldn't see anything here, simply because the lock would have been released the moment read operation was complete. But now the transaction is still in flight, so you can see that lock there. All good. Now what we will do is we are going to simulate another user, right? So let's just move to another window and let's call this as user 2. User 2 is doing exactly the same thing. This is session ID 73. As you can see this here, session ID 73 will do exactly the same thing, which is read data from this table. And that same record. So let's just go and execute this contact ID 1. Let's jump over to the Tran logs DMV and look at the output now. Let me pull this up a little. Now you will observe, let's just go a little more up. 82 is what you had seen earlier. This is 82, key lock shared. And now you can see session ID 73 also acquires a key lock, and look at this resource description. It's the same lock, right? It's the same resource, it's the same row. And you can again see request mode as shared and granted. Remember, two shared locks are compatible, and that's why both these users are able to read the same data, because shared locks are compatible. And why not? Because they just want to read the data, and both the locks are being held until the duration of the transaction. So friends, where is the convert status? Now if you look at this request status attribute, you will see convert in one of them. Which one? Let's just go back to user 1. Now what user 1 wants to do is, while the transaction is going on, it had read the data, there was a shared lock acquired there. Now it wants to update that same record. So we are firing an update statement on that same row. Remember, convert here. Inside the transaction, you were holding a shared lock on that row. Now you want to update that same row. So it's not acquiring a new lock, rather converting the status, converting the mode of this lock from shared to exclusive. Because when you want to make changes, you're inserting data or you're updating, you want exclusive access. So the status is going to be changed, the request mode is going to be changed. So let's just go back here and you will see this S has to be 82, right? This S has to be converted to X, and that convert status will show up here. Let's do this. So I am going to fire the update statement now. There you go, and it's waiting. Did you guess that the status this will be granted? You probably thought, but you know why it is waiting, right? Simply because there is user 2 who's already holding a shared lock, and now user 1 wants to change the status from shared to exclusive, and you know that exclusive lock mode is incompatible with any other lock mode, right? So this has to wait. X and S, they are incompatible. Let's go and check now the Tran DMV here, sysdm Tran locks, and now you will see for 82, this is the one. There you go, and this demystifies everything. Now 82 was originally holding a shared lock. Now it wants to convert the request mode to X, and this is why you see the convert status here. That was the question. Convert is like a wait status. It's like waiting for that conversion to happen from S to X, and it's waiting because there's another user who is holding a shared lock. And if you roll back this fellow, user 2 of course, then that status will be converted, that request mode will be granted. So now you will see 82 key, and you can see X lock being granted there. So convert has moved back to grant. All right, folks, quick demonstration, and I hope this demystifies a few things about the locking architecture, which is very, very interesting, very peculiar, and yeah, a lot of good stuff about the locking architecture inside SQL Server. Hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. Friends, do check out our masterclass recordings. Jan 2025 batch recordings are up there. If you subscribe to these masterclass recordings, you get a lifetime access. Unlike many other vendors on the internet who are selling their courses, SQL Server performance tuning courses with annual subscriptions, and then you have to renew, and then you get Black Friday sales, and then you get anniversary sales and whatnot. No such crap with our content here. More than 40 hours of deep dive content in our masterclass recordings. Very real world, very practical, and just full of demonstrations. And that content is available for a lifetime, which means once you subscribe, you don't have to resubscribe or renew your subscription. You get lifetime access. Watch the content anywhere, as many times as you want. Hop onto SQLmaestros.com, and right on the top of the homepage, you will see masterclass recordings. Do check that out. Okay, so I'm done for this video. Share this, like this, put your comments, and of course, do let your friends and colleagues know about this channel. A lot of good content out here, and I will see you soon in another video. Happy SQL!